Thanks everyone for joining us on the Solar Objections live action role play. I have the pleasure to introduce a big UFC fan, fellow poker player, Solar Pro, and my friend, Solar Joe.
Man, that's never going to get old. And I have the pleasure to introduce somebody I'm a big fan of, Mr. Jake Hess. A lot of people call him the Yoda of solar, and for good reason. This guy is amazing. In 2016, he's one of the pioneers of the broker model with Heliogold, doing trainings on door-to-door, virtual, referral expert, I would say, master. Also, this guy has been doing this for, helping like 20 people start their own businesses. I mean, then he started the Solar Academy, which is doing solar trainings across the country. But he's not stopping there. I mean, he still does free trainings, does clubhouse trainings for solar. He's going city to city. I think he went to Denver. Was going to he's going to Chicago, Illinois. Going to Idaho. He's in Sacramento right now. I think we're going to meet up later today. But Jake, I know you're so busy. Thanks so much for being here, man.
Absolutely, Joe. It's a pleasure to be on here. I've seen these a few times, and I'm pretty excited to be on this.
Awesome, bro. So everybody that is watching, if you are as excited as I am, go put in the comment right now. Let's go, or LFG. But if you guys want to show your name, you have to go to the bottom of the post and click the StreamYard link to show your name. If not, we'll just see Facebook user or so. So go ahead. If you guys want to comment right now, ask a question. We'll try to get to it, or maybe an objection you want Jake to handle. We'll take it from there. But today I will be playing the role of the retired homeowner, and Jake will be playing the role of the Solar Pro. So let's get started.
Bring it. I like it.
All right, Jake. So I know we met before, and I had a bunch of questions about solar, and you really couldn't get to it yet. Now that we're meeting up here, I just don't know if I'm at the right stage of life to go solar. I am pretty old. I think I'm too old to go solar, being retired.
I've met with a lot of people that, look into solar, and that is a valid concern. What's going to happen. Actually, let me ask you this. What do you plan? Why are you saying you're too old? Like, what are you planning on doing with the house?
I'm retired for the last 10 years, but my electricity bills are just getting crazier and crazier. And I'm just worried about the bills, but I just feel like I don't want to add, all this debt on my name on this stage of life where I just paid off all my debt,
Yeah, for sure. Some people I meet with, they have a ton of cash just sitting in their couch cushion that they can just go rip it open and pull that out and give it to me. You're saying that's not the case here? If I go
I'm struggling to pay these bills right now, but so it's something I am worried about.
Yeah, just take on the debt, and when you pass away, someone else will take care of it for you, right? No.
Yeah, so I don't want that.
I understand not wanting to take on debt. I've had other people that I've met with before also not want to do that, but they always have a reason that they want to go solar. So I guess that just needs to outweigh the debt that you might be taking on. Some people take on a debt for 25 years. Some take it on for 10 years. Some people take it on for 5 years, and some take it on for 30 days. How long would you want to take debt on for? Actually, let me ask you this. Do you even want to take debt on to get solar? Or is that why I'm here?
I mean, like I said, I was so happy when I paid off all my debt that I was like, I can't tell my wife that, hey, we're going to get another loan right now. She'd be like, are you crazy, hon? So I just don't want any debt at all.
So some people look at it like, what's the utility company that you're with?
SDG&E.
So you might be in a lifelong contract with them, right? Because in SDG&E, there's not another option. Even if you did have other options, those utilities kind of dictate when pricing goes up or not. So even though you don't have the debt under your name, you still have the obligation and duty to keep making the monthly payments, unless you want your power shut off, which not a lot of people want that, but you kind of still have to make those payments. So you can either pay less every month or you can pay more. Now, the debt to income ratio in your name, I understand that. Are there any other purchases that you want to buy in the future, like another house or another car?
This is my last house. Like the next place I'm going to is a nursing home. I can tell you that.
Look, I want to give you everything that you want to go solar, but I need to understand why you don't want debt. It's because it's a bad thing that we've been taught. But if you're not going to use it for anything else and you have it, what's the reason you don't want to be in debt?
When you pay all your debt off and you finally did that, it's like a celebration. So I can make sense of getting that. And also just my wife would never want debt anymore after we struggled so hard to get it all paid off.
Okay. So for me, it's easy to pivot. I just wanted to make sure I have a solution for you. That's pretty easy. Okay. A couple of them, but a couple of solutions for you, but I just want to make sure it's truly about the debt. Is that fair? You're only going to do this once. Let's do it right.
Yeah,
your wife, she doesn't like the higher bills, or she doesn't like debt more?
She definitely doesn't want higher bills. I mean, we're worried about our bills, and right now, which is like barely affordable, but we're on a fixed income. And as these bills get higher and higher, there's more and more being taken from us. So we pay Social Security, so we don't pay any federal taxes. I know that was a big deal. So I was like, we're kind of turned off of solar because we don't get any federal taxes either.
That makes sense. And everyone says don't get solar. Like if you get the federal taxes, you should get solar. But sometimes, like in cases like this, you don't necessarily get the tax credit back. It doesn't make sense for a lot of people. So when we broke down the numbers earlier, even if you don't get the tax credit, it does show that you're going to get a savings. And your bill would be less. The nice part is it's never going to go up on you, and it's not going to fluctuate. So if you are worried, and trust me, you're not the only ones that I've met with in this situation. If you're on sort of, I'm sure you worked hard, to get to where you're at right now, but the money's running out, as you mentioned. So if you're on some, not necessarily a fixed income, but some sort of a fixed income because you don't want that money to be depleted. Is that fair to say?
Exactly.
Then you would be lowering your bills even if you got a loan, even if you didn't get the tax credit.
Okay, so that's good to know. I didn't know that. I thought that was just because you needed a tax credit. How does that work? Does it something where I have to like get a debt? I don't want any debt though. So how does that work then?
You'll still have the debt, but I mean, that's what you need to ask yourself and your wife. Would you rather have the debt, or would you rather have the monthly payments come out at a higher rate? And I mean, everyone loves solar. That's probably why I'm here right now, but you can't get anything without giving anything. There's no free lunch. We all learned that, right? You will have to give up something in order to get solar. Even if you had that cash in the couch cushion, I would still have to go take that out of your cushion. You still have to give up something to get it, right? There is another program that in California that a lot of people love. It's called a PPA. Where you don't take on any debt. You pay $0 out of pocket, and you get almost just as much of the savings that you would on that monthly payment. You don't worry about your tax credit. But even then, you're giving up your roof. Well, I guess you'd give up your roof either way, whether you got a loan or not.
What's PPA?
What's that?
What's a PPA?
It's a loan wrapped in a pretty package. You don't have to take any debt out against your name. You get solar panels on your roof. You pay $0 out of pocket. It's just that you don't own the solar panels. That's the only negative part. I
don't care about owning them. I just want to save money on my electricity.
You mentioned you have SDG&E.
SDG&E,
like a different utility company. SDG&E has the power lines outside, right, or underground. Rather than a competitor, which this is a competitor, would come in and try to sell you power, rather than put new power lines underground or a new utility pole up and have two of them in your front yard, they just say, why don't we just not mess with those utility poles, and let's just put our solar on top of these people's houses, and you buy the power directly from your roof instead of from the power lines. Not everyone has a ton of cash to shell out to buy solar. Not everyone does want to take loans. Not everyone qualifies for the tax credit. And I know it feels like I'm talking specifically to you, but this is pretty common in solar. And so they had to come out with a way to give people a cheaper utility bill without giving them loans or paying cash. And this is just one of those ways. I personally love it because there's a lot of benefits that go with it. For example, no maintenance. You have no maintenance on these things. If something breaks down, you just call one phone number. if you do a loan or if you do cash, oftentimes you're going to be calling multiple companies, and the installation companies, they all tell you that they are the best install company in the world. All right. And so am I. So, I mean, but you got to choose first. You got to choose what feels right for you financially. And so most companies, the installation companies will tell you till they're blue in the face, we'll service this thing, we'll maintain it. They'll even give you a nice, pretty certificate on a piece of paper and say, trust us, right? But the fact of the matter is, you don't know who they are. They could go to Las Vegas. They could put everything on black. They'll be out of business tomorrow. And who do you call? But the PPA, the reason people like that is because they're usually publicly traded companies. They're massive organizations. So if they go out of business, first of all, you want to pray that they go out of business, because you just got solar on your house for $0. Like, the day it gets installed, let's do something and do a pray circle or something, because that would be amazing, right? But more than likely, they'll pick it up as an asset, and they'll have to abide by every term in the contract, and you won't have to pay anything the entire time that you have solar, except for cheaper power for your utility bill. I know that was long-winded. Did that help out a little?
I get I don't have to worry about federal tax credit. There's no debt and no money down, nothing out of pocket, and I just save money. Am I saving anything significant, or am I just going from bill to bill?
Yeah, you'll save money. Whether it's significant or not, it'll be significant later. And I'm sure it's more significant for you to have a flat payment that you can rely on that's less than what it is now, rather than a fluctuating one, so you can plan your fixed income a little bit better. I'll definitely show you the savings because it's there no matter which one you choose. I just want to make sure you like the program first.
Well, this sounds great. This is the problem. Everybody sounds great what they're saying, and then when you get into it, it doesn't work, or you have two bills now. I'm paying more money than I was doing before. We cannot take that risk with our fixed income. I don't want to be paying any more money than I'm ready to pay. How do I know I'm going to get what you're promising me?
Well, it's my job to make it sound great, but like I told you in the beginning, there's some bad parts too. Can I tell you the bad part about the power purchase agreement?
Please.
You don't get the tax credit. They keep it.
Well, I don't pay taxes. It doesn't matter for me.
Oh. Well.
That's even better, huh?
I guess maybe your roof could leak. How about that?
Yeah.
Has that ever been a concern for you?
I'm very worried about the solar panels damaging my roof, for sure. That's one thing, that's holding us back.
So in the contract, it says with the publicly traded, because even though I'm the best install company and so is everyone else, in the contract that you're signing, it actually says that they're going to warranty the roof penetrations themselves for a certain period of time. 5 years is what it says. And if you're going to leak, it's going to be within the first year. Obviously, you'll go through an entire cycle of weather, definitely by the 5th year. But it's just an added protection to all these install companies saying that they're going to do a good job. It's just another layer of protection for you. It's in the contract that you'd be signing.
So, what about my bills? What if I start getting double bills or much more expensive, and I'm in a worse position? I just want to make sure that I'm actually going to get what you're saying.
So with a PPA, you have something called a rate production guarantee. That means that if your system does not produce what they promised you, you will get your money back. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to pay two bills. You will, because you have to pay the payment to the solar company, the one that put the solar on for the power. But just in case that doesn't work, just in case for some reason things go south, you will also have to pay your utility company that bill as well. The good news is the utility company knows that that could happen, right? They also know that there's more sunlight in the summer than there is in the winter. And so you don't pay that for 1 year. So the utility bill company actually puts you on a year program and not a month-to-month program. So you might not owe any, you'll get bills from your utility company saying, hey, you used our power. This is not a bill, do not pay this. But if it was a bill, this is how much it would be. And you need to keep track of that, because if the solar company is not giving you, producing that power, then you might have to pay that bill if it never works again. But you have to understand that solar company just spent thousands and thousands of dollars. They pay me $1 million just to go put it on your roof. So millions of dollars that they're paying to get that on your roof, right? if it's not working, they never get their money back. That would be a very bad business model. You're protected in a lot of ways. And the biggest protection you have is, how are you at risk? If you don't pay for it, there is no debt against your name. They're covering all of the maintenance on it. My question to you, not just you, but anyone, is how are you at risk? What are you giving up to get free solar on your house for a cheaper bill? Anything?
No, it sounds too good to be true.
Well, no, you're giving up your tax credit, right?
Well, I don't pay taxes, so I don't have to worry about that.
Well, they'll get the tax credit whether you pay or not. They'll get to keep it because they own it, so they claim the tax credit. So if there was to be a bad thing, it would be that, but for you, it's not bad. For other people that go on this program, it might be, but for you, sounds like a good fit. What do you think?
It sounds great. Like, it sounds like good for me. Like right now I can save money and there's no debt, no cost, but like, what if something, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. What happens? Something happens to my wife. I go to a nursing home. I have to sell my house. Then it's going to be a big obstacle. I have to try to sell my house with these things on my roof. How's that going to happen?
Yeah, it is.
So is that something I should do then? Should I even go solar? No, it's going to it might make it harder to sell my house.
That's completely up to you. So selling a house is pretty hard in and of itself, right? That's a big obstacle. Solar is less of an obstacle than that. I mean, it adds to the obstacle of selling a home. But if you're already going through that process, I guess it's up to you if it's worth it or not. I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Because like if I die and I'm leaving this to my kids, am I leaving a headache to them? Am I leaving them, more stress, things to worry about? I don't want to leave any problems, after all my debt was paid off and all that good stuff. Am I leaving any issues for them?
Probably. I'll tell you this. Every company out there promises you the best experience on the planet. But when I buy things, when I go places, for some reason, the worst thing always happens to me. And I'm looking at everyone else around and I'm like, how come you guys got it perfect and I have to deal with this, right? Everything's going to go perfectly for you with this company, with selling your house. It's all going to go perfectly. But just in case you're that person that's like me and I'm the one person that gets the bad experience, I don't want to promise you anything. There's always risks if you do this, right? But it is a benefit that you're going to be having. Like you're going to be saving money, and so will your kids when they take over the house. They're going to be saving money. Even if someone goes to buy the house, they're going to have to connect the power, unless they're Amish, right? Unless they're Amish, they don't use power. They're going to have to connect the power. It's just a question of, do they want more expensive power or do they want cheaper power? This one happens to be cheaper. Even on a traditional loan that we talked about, they're going to try, the homeowner's going to try, or say you give your house to your kids and they try to sell the house, they might want to get the money back for the solar. They're going to say there's added value. But really, it's up to the market. Is the market going to allow them to buy it for a higher rate? It's still transferring the debt over. It's just in a different way, right? The homeowners pay more for the house, or some loans actually even transfer to the new homeowner. Super easy. I'll tell you this, with a PPA and with a loan, not both of them, it's nowadays a pretty easy transfer. Half the realtors say. The other half say it's not. So we just have to make sure we get a realtor that says it's easy. And the ones that I've handled, the transfers that I've helped with, it's usually just one paper that you fill out when they're going through the closing docs. You'll want to pick someone that's a little more savvy to solar, but as more and more people are getting solar, it's becoming more and more common that realtors and those closing docs, that they handle all of this stuff.
Jake, it sounds all great, but I've been around the block. Okay. I've been around the neighborhood. I know what's going on, and I know there's no free lunch. Nothing is free. So just tell me, what am I missing, man?
They make tons of money off of you. They do. It's like, I'm not sitting here telling you that they don't, but it doesn't matter how much money they make if your bill is less and you're not paying anything for it, right? I'll tell you how they make money in this. If it sounds like power purchase agreements, what you're leaning towards, I'll tell you how they make money. They keep your tax credit, number one. That's 26% of the value of the thing. Number two is, since a company owns it, they're depreciating the value of an asset. Like if you're a business and you bought a car, they depreciate the car too. So they make their money because they keep the tax credit, they depreciate the value of the system, and you make a monthly payment for something that the sun is producing for free, right? And they get their money back super fast. But they win. Definitely they win. Otherwise, they wouldn't do this, right? They win. You win because you didn't pay anything and your bill is less. And the utility company loses. That's why they hate us.
Well, I have no problem winning. I have no problem with you winning or you making money or the company making money. If we're all winning, let's all win together. But it sounds great. This is all something I'm going to, mull over. I'm just going to wait on this till later, though.
Cool. I don't mind if you wait. In fact, now that I know that you like the power purchase agreement, let's go over your savings. And I even brought with me the contract that you would be signing. Now, on this contract, it says Leonardo DiCaprio. You are not Leo. But everything in this contract is everything that we just talked about, them covering your roof, your rates not going up on you, things like that. But, don't take my word for it. You're going to want to read through the contract you'd actually be signing. So here's the contract, and I'm going to leave this with you. Now let's go over your savings.
Well, I want to, have that technician come over that you were talking about, setting that site visit. Is there any way I can have that person? Because I'm a little worried about the roof. Is there any way I could have somebody come over, check it out first before I can even do this without paying anything?
Yeah. So if you're worried about the roof, so your roof exists, you're worried about it, right?
I'm a little worried.
If you don't go solar, then there's no reason for us to send this person over to check your roof. If you don't like what's in that contract, is that fair? Or if you don't like the savings?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I will happily send this person over, but if you find out that you don't want solar, then it doesn't matter if your roof is bad or if this person comes over. I can tell you walking in your house, because that's what I do. I looked at your roof. I wouldn't be too worried about it. These installation companies will not. Well, I'd be kind of worried about it. Let me back up a little bit. This is not completely your choice. I know it sounds like it, and I'm here talking to you. My job is just to make sure that I give you all of the facts to make a decision. I need to make sure that you understand what's in that contract and that you like it. Is that fair? Now, just because I get you to understand that, my other job is to make sure that the installation company does their job properly on the backside of things. But the installation company doesn't want to take the risk on of your roof leaking. What if your roof is bad? Just because you say you want solar doesn't mean that they're going to do it. The choice is not completely yours. The choice is actually completely as half up to the installation company if they want to take the risk on of your house. Because remember when I asked you, if you're not paying any money, what are you risking?
What are the next steps?
What's that?
What are the next steps?
We'll go over that, but the risk is all on the installers and it's all on the contract that you're signing. It's all on them, because if your system doesn't produce, they have to give your money back, but they fronted the cash for it, right? All of the risk is on these solar companies, and it blows my mind that I don't know why they're doing it. That part I don't understand. I can tell you how they make money. I can't tell you why they would take on this risk and give the homeowner none. I have no idea how to do that. Does this sound like a risk to you?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It sounds too good to be true. I could just save money, no debt. I give up I don't have to worry about my tax credit. I mean, it sounds great. I want to make sure I can actually get it done. So what are the next steps?
So next steps, we need to go through this agreement, make sure you understand everything in it and that you like it. Make sure you like the savings. If you like those two things, and only if you like those two things, then we'll create a design for you and show you. First of all, your solar is going to go right there on the south roof. That's just where it's going to go. Do you have a problem with that?
No.
Okay. And then if it overflows, it'll go on the west roof. Everyone wants to see the pretty designs, but that's where it's going. So as long as you like the terms of the contract, as long as you like the savings, and you're okay with it on those two parts of your roof, you said you're okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
But yeah, that's the question. But now she's okay with it. She just doesn't want to worry. She's worried about the money part about it. That's it.
Where is she? Where's your wife? What's her name?
She's really quiet. She's right next to me. She's just really she's really quiet.
No, I've then asked her how she feels about it being on those two roofs. And the next step would be, okay, you're fine with it. So next step is let's just go through this agreement. You guys ask me all the hard questions. I really want to answer them for you. Then we'll create a design. And if you're comfortable with it at that point, we'll schedule someone to come out. You'll sign the document saying you're comfortable with it. That way it tells the installation company that they should start spending money on sending the site surveyor. Some people need a day to think about it. I can leave and go bring the design back the next day. Some people like to decide now because they already know that they want it. It's all based on your comfort level.
Perfect. We are closed. That's it, man. I mean, that's a smooth role play. You took it from homeowners, a bunch of questions, worries, into like a no-brainer. Like, what are you waiting for? Decision. How do you feel? Have you been doing this at all? You're just so good at it. It's so smooth. You're still closing.
I sold enough solar that I know that when I go into homes, I know that the deal is good enough as it is. I know that I didn't answer questions in a traditional way. I know that for sure. I know that I gave the blunt answer, and I even told them it might not make sense for you. I didn't try to go for the close the hard way most people do. I know this because I've seen what it looks like when people want solar and they sign up. It's not hard. If I explain everything like that, the people that want solar get it. The people that don't. And if I forced you and pushed you to sign and I pressured you to sign, that's just a cancel, right? I've been in solar long enough to sign up enough people that if they say yes or no, that's typically what they're going to, I know that if they're going to say yes, I don't have to push any harder than I did.
100%. That's something I actually had to learn because I'm a sales guy, through and through, entering the solar. And I've actually started off amazing, crazy. But once you are, this game and the way it's getting saturated, homeowners are just like looking for a fresh, different approach, not salesy, gimmicky, and let them think about it, let them get the right information. Don't pressure them, and I think that's a fresh breath, a breath of fresh air, man. So I like that. So we have a little more time, if that's okay, Jake. Can we do a little quick couple of questions for you?
Yeah.
Solar Pro Q&A. I love that little graphic, so I'll have to get it up there. But we got a couple.
Another thing though, sorry. PACE loans are also a good option for that sometimes. But okay, keep going. Solar questions.
No problem. First, there's some comments we got to get through here a little bit. We got some fans, man. Ruth. She's saying, "Yeah, let's go."
Hey, Ruth.
We got Leon. Let's go.
Leon, yeah. I like Leon.
Ruth with her comments. Oh, the pretty package. She likes the verbiage. Ruth is on fire. Leon said, Jake Hess, cool, calm, and collective. Conversational sale. Nailed it.
Ruth is my biggest fan.
Ruth is amazing. I love her.
And yours.
Oh, good job being difficult homeowner. I didn't make it too easy on you, Jake. And we got somebody saying, are we brothers? Hey, that's a compliment for me. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
I'll take that too. Smart guy like Joe. Yeah.
So, guys, if you have any any questions for Jake, this is the time to ask him. If you have any objections you want him to handle, go ahead, throw it in there. In the meantime, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay with you, man.
Sure, yeah.
So, I know you have so much experience, man, and there's so much stuff going on in the industry. And one of the hot topics everybody is talking about is roof tiles and what's going on with them and having a competitive option to Tesla and just roof tiles themselves. Can you tell me a little bit about what you think and where they're going?
Yes. Everyone says that. Yes, Chelsea, you can. Everyone says that batteries are the next wave, and they are. They're a huge wave that's coming. They're going to be essential, but I think that they're skipping a step. I think solar tiles could happen. I mean, they're right on the precipice. They're right there. If the installation companies can just figure out how to make it more profitable on the timeline that it takes to install it, and the sales reps knew enough about it. I think that it could have a huge, massive boom and effect on the industry, but there's been some beautiful and great inventions that have come into this world that just didn't have the backing behind it, and they never end up ended up taking off. And I would hate to see solar tiles not do that. But I think where the market is lapsing here, or lacking, I guess I should say, is profitability and time frame for installers and sales reps knowledge. But I do think there's a next wave. It could be a next wave.
Well, it totally makes sense. Battery storage is also the next wave. What do you think about any other solar technology and battery storage, going into the future?
Eddie Fernandez from Y-Green, he brought up something that they're coming with devices that go on the back of solar panels that could cool the solar panels to make them more efficient.
Yeah.
I feel like people are. I just read that airplanes are coming out with a way to do cold fusion, which would be insane. They're going to have those out within 10 years, I think it said. If houses could do that, say goodbye to solar. Like, I don't know the technology of solar. There's so many, and you see the glass bulbs, the orbs that focus a lot of power onto certain panels. There's a lot that could come out. I don't know enough about it yet. I know that the solar panels that we have out now, the reason they have more watts in them is typically because they're making them a little bit bigger, or they're making the back sheet smaller, meaning the cells are bigger inside, or the solar panels themselves are larger. The silicon is just what it is. It's just going to be there, right? It's the way that the power is transferred through the solar panels. There is another solar panel out there that they use in space, like gallium. Those are not going to come down here because that's like putting gold wiring in your walls instead of copper. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. Hope that answered your question. But yeah, battery storage is going to be massive. In Nate Skousen's office here, he has a solar arc inverter, which those things are awesome. I've seen him dealing with the IQ8s already. In fact, the reason I'm out here is dealing with some of this battery stuff that's coming out, and having Nate and I are going to create a lot of videos on it. So for trainings, so huge waves coming into the industry, and definitely sellable.
That's awesome. The IQ8 that's a big change for the industry, man. Can we talk a little bit about that?
IQ8 is out, not to go underneath solar panels, but they're using them inside of batteries right now. Nate did a video on that. I can send you and show it to you, but they're out. They're just not in. They're not going on the back of solar panels at the moment.
Got it. Hey, we got a question in the comments, real quick. Actually, somebody had a comment for the role play. This Facebook user. The I don't want debt, can't get the tax credit is exactly the case for my last two clients. They didn't want debt and didn't qualify for the tax credit. So this is a normal thing we hear, right?
Yeah, happens quite often there. And you know what? In some markets, they don't allow power purchase agreements like we talked about. But also in those markets, loans a lot of times can make sense even without getting the tax credit. It still can. PACE funding is another option, and I know that it's kind of a swear word to sales reps because of the lien it puts on a house. But the more you understand it, that makes more sense financially than any loan I've done the math on, or PPA. It's just, it comes, like I told the homeowner, you have to give something to get something. It is, I think, hands down the best finance option out there, but you have to give up a lien on your property. And it's not even a lien on your property. It goes onto your property taxes, which you have to pay off anyway if you sell the house, right? So there's some ways around it. It's a little bit of studying, a little bit of knowledge.
So next question here, we got, what was your go-to product when you sold, loan or PPA?
That is a beautiful question, actually. I don't know who asked that. How come we can't see their name?
Because they have to click on the link on the post where it says they have to be allowed to show their name, because I guess it's live and they can't just show their name without their permission.
So myself and everyone that I've ever taught, I love that question. It's not about what my go-to product was. I had multiple products. I had SunPower and I had Sunrun, and Sonova came out, Spruce even back in the day, which horrible. But I laid out the pros and cons of each of them. Now that with this homeowner, with Joe, I found out that they wanted a PPA. Now I would spend a little bit more time in the home and tell them the different types of PPAs or leases, because because I don't want a competitor to beat me, right? I want them to know each thing that's out there. And when they pick that thing, let's say they pick Sunrun. When they pick Sunrun, I will go back to SunPower and I'll say, well, what if I make SunPower less expensive? $20 less. And they look at me and like, no, because I mean, can you do that? But we don't want it because we can't buy it after 5 years, like it says in Sunrun. True. So I would lay out all the pros and cons for all of them. And just to make sure, just that little bit, I would lower the price, have them question themselves a little bit, and then they would answer the reason why they don't want SunPower at that point. And then I would say, okay, good. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't about the price. I can't lower it anyway, but it's good to know that you know what you want. That way, when a SunPower rep came to the door, or another one came in the house, like SunPower, no, I don't want them. And here's the reasons why. So to answer your question, I didn't have a go-to. I loved all of them equally, and I let the homeowner pick.
You know, that's the way to do it. And I think today's day, it's like we're trying to like not complicate it, right? If you complicate it, then homeowner's not gonna be able to make a decision. Like they're not gonna make a decision right then and there most of the time. They're gonna be thinking about it, even if they sign your paperwork. So really making sure that, you know, when the next person comes in, that they show them something completely new that they didn't even know existed, that you were the one that at least told them that it is in existence. So great advice, Jake. We got another objection you want to handle here. He wants you to handle this, or she. What's your response to solar panel technology will only get better? Should I just wait for the new solar panels to come out?
That one, I know a lot of salespeople kind of jump on questions and they feel like they have to answer them to homeowners. Some of the questions I choose not to jump on, and I found that to be more powerful than actually answering the questions a lot of times. That one, you can't really answer, and homeowners know that. Just paint a picture for them. Just be like, oh yeah. How come you have that car out there? They're getting better too. You know, it's not about, it's not, and I tell them, so if you do something like that, if you become a little bit sarcastic like that, like, hey, well, your car out there, you bought that, and I know cars are getting better. You have to also save them. So if you bring in an analogy up of something to show how silly it might be, you have to save them also. You can't just say the silliness and then leave it at that because you come off as a jerk, right? In a situation like this, if I said anything, I would say it's kind of like cars. Technology's gotten better. Back in the 1960s, they wish that they had the Corvettes out here now. That would be fun. Technology is always going to get better. Solar panels, I could tell you that they've already made it to the highest technology. Next year, they could come out with a solar panel this size that will power your whole house. It's not a question of it's going to get better or not. It's just, is it going to save you money or not? Do you want to start saving now, or do you want to start saving 10 years from now?
Yeah, I think building homes is going to get really much better going to the future. Doesn't mean you should keep paying rent until the homes are, you know what I'm saying? Like everything's going to keep improving. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a great point.
And then I would do a redirect. So after saying that, do you want to save money now, save money 10 years from now? Hey, I remember you guys were talking about air conditioning. Were you guys going to add a second air conditioner to the house or a fifth one? I'll just ask something stupid just to change the subject, because that saves them and allows them to switch and go to the next question in a smooth way.
Awesome. What are the most common objections you hear for the agreement itself when you're going through it, and how do you handle them?
What's the most common objection you hear for the agreement itself? I don't really hear them for the agreement. Homeowners anticipate, and if your homeowner is having an issue with this, with the agreement itself, be like, the agreement, be like, I would put it on another homeowner or referral. I say, oh yeah, one of my referrals or one of my homeowners, the other homes that I was working with, they're concerned about the contract too. But they realized if you're going to go solar, obviously there has to be a contract, and then they were over it. Most anything you do these days have to have contracts. As long as you're okay with the terms, let's go over those terms.
So I also wanted to bring up something, because the way you answer questions sometimes is completely different than other people do. So this is a good time to bring it up. So the last question was what's your response to solar panel technology getting better? And your instant thing was, whatever, let's not talk about it. There's no answer for it. But then you really did answer it. And that's the thing that people don't realize. You say something, but then you actually answer it in a way. So next, I didn't know who this was, but he said there is an answer, and he wanted to kind of put his answer out there. I think I know who this is, but you can answer that. Manufacturers aren't just going to drop a 1,000-watt panel next year, crush distributors and installers. It's the same reason phones only get a little better each year. Incremental increases mean more profit.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, that could be true, but then we're getting into conspiracy theories and no one really wants to purchase off of that. And this goes for a lot of things in solar. I don't necessarily get into those just because it comes off as salesy and gimmicky, and clearly my style is just full transparency, right? And so for that one, and it's not a bad answer, it really isn't. I'm sure that this person has a lot of experience, I can tell, and probably gets a lot of sales. I just don't have the energy for that.
That's perfect. And this next question, I'm not a big fan of this question because I'm not a big fan of like what's your closing ratio, because there's so many variables to that. But I want to make sure I do ask their questions. So Jake, if you don't mind asking, what is your closing success rate?
So for those of you that don't know, you can reach out to the Solar Academy website and ask anything you want. And it's usually one of my teams. Amy usually gets on there and answers, and she can pull statistics for you and data. So it's not just me saying this, but my closing rate is in the high 90s. My sit to install rate, not my closing rate. My sit to install is about 93%, somewhere around there.
That's pretty
I actually filter those homeowners sometimes before I even go to the house, like shoot them text messages and things like that. So my filtration is probably higher than most as well, or a little more stringent, but my closing rate is in the high 90s or low 90s.
That's pretty incredible, but it's kind of like you're being picky who you talk to, who you work with. You don't just say, everybody, come and talk to me. I got you. Like, you're not
right.
that wriggling Barnum and Bailey kind of circus. You're, picking and choosing who you talk to, right?
Yeah, I don't want, so where I live in San Diego, some of the larger systems happen about 45 minutes east of me. One of the areas that I grew the largest in, it's called Alpine, and I didn't want to drive out there for an appointment. I would literally shoot him a text message and say, hey, just a reminder, I'm going to be swinging by. No decisions can be made when I come unless you're comfortable with it, and look forward to seeing you. And then I would say, does this time still work for you? Because I know that life happens. And if they say, actually, no, then I'll try to reschedule. If I don't hear from them, then I'm on to the next one. But if they say, oh, yeah, we're looking forward to it, I pretty much know it's a sale. And I'll go to that, but I don't drive out there if it's not confirmed. So yes, I have a high filtration process for sure.
That makes sense. And then we got Eddie Fernandez, Y Green. An educated property owner is a customer.
True. Eddie's one of the best at Y Green there. But yeah, so the closing rates, when I stopped spending so much time going to all these appointments that didn't confirm or didn't want to give me the time back, it really dug into the amount of money I was capable of making. So I only focused my time on the people that I knew that I was going to close, and that freed up my time a lot to go get more homeowners. And so my biggest installation year was around 200, just over 200 installs in a year from knocking doors. And it's really because I was picky about who I would spend my time with.
That's awesome advice, man. Since we're on that subject, can you talk a little bit about, when you're managing such a big team and you still focus on yourself, and how do you do that? How do you kind of put it all together?
I will tell you this. I made a lot of mistakes getting to that point. Upset some people, lost a lot of my team. It was only by trial and error did I ever get to a point where I could successfully manage and maintain them. And I will attribute that to a mutual buddy of ours, Ben Mack. He came in and freed up a lot of the stresses I had on running the company and really brought in people to delegate a lot of the responsibilities I thought that I had to take on my own. And I would say, to answer that question, delegate, but you won't do that very well unless you have someone that you trust implicitly that can help you out with that. Because sometimes when you're in a moment or you're in a situation it's too hard for you to see outside of it. So an outside source that you trust can really guide you and navigate you to delegate and really empower you, because even the people we delegated to, they made mistakes and we took losses, but it felt good because I got to refine those processes and make sure those mistakes didn't happen again and those losses again, which really opened up and helped refine the processes. So growth even happened with the losses. I hope that answered your question.
And to teach other people what not to do and how to learn how to train other people. So it makes sense. So I'm gonna move along, man. I know you have to go. I only have a few more minutes with you, so I want to get a couple more questions. I'm gonna let you go, Jake.
I do something real quick. 1 minute.
Go for it, bro.
All right, hang on 1 sec. Just 1 minute, everyone.
Oh, what's going on? Hey, so to fill everybody in, Jake does clubhouses, clubhouse training, solar professionals. Check it out. And he's always giving and supporting. And right now, the Solar RN, he's supporting Catherine. He's really a big supporter of all solar pros. And he made a bond and a pact with Catherine, the Solar RN, to come in and show his support in the video. So, when he gets back in, we'll know what we're talking about. There he is.
Yeah, got my scrubs on, got my stethoscope. The Solar RN in Clubhouse. Joe, thanks for letting me do this.
No
Catherine, she went on, I think it was Facebook or somewhere. She posted something about how great she felt about taking the next step in solar, and she posted a website. Some of us have been there and some of us have done it, right? But I think we forget the milestones and the victories that we should celebrate. I think we forget those, and I think we forget the first time we did it and the chills that we get. And here is this woman that comes on here, onto Facebook groups in front of the country and says, hey, I did this and I'm proud. And that really moved me. It brought me back. And so I wanted to show my support for her, Catherine, the Solar RN. She really focuses on not only maintaining a healthy utility bill in people's homes by getting them solar, but she even gives them health tips when she's at the house. I mean, an RN doing that, that's great. So she has an awesome angle. She has a huge heart, and she's extremely ambitious, which is why I wanted to support her on here. And I want to support anyone that is ambitious or has those milestones that they can really just feel, because that's what solar is about, is feeling like you're growing and feeling that happiness. Because if you don't feel that, then you're not growing. You're not going to be as successful as you want. So congratulations, Catherine, and thanks for inspiring all of us.
What was the website? Is it thesolarrn.com? That's it. There it is. Thesolarrn.com. Give her a little bit of a hype. People check her out. She's on Facebook. So that's awesome. Appreciate that, Jake. Now we have people saying thank you. We've got Solar RN getting tagged here. But anyway, man, last question for you. I'm going to let you go. And like I said, I really appreciate you making time to do this. I know you're super busy in Sacramento hanging out with Nathan. But just, as you're doing your thing, what's some advice? Like, a lot of people don't like door knocking. They don't want to do the hard work of door knocking and calling people. They want the easy, go online and get leads. So what's your advice to those people who are just dabbling on online solar leads because they don't want to door knock anymore?
So anybody that does things that are simple will never get the same results as people that do things that are more complicated. So if it's easy to do Facebook ads, you're going to have to spend a metric load of money in order to have those things deliver what you want, because everyone else does Facebook ads. That's easy. You can create an ad, you can post it, you can put money on it. That's easy. Some people are better at it than others. Certain colors catch people's eyes, pictures, phrases. So bringing a marketer on is, advisable if that's the route that you want to go, but it's not going to be as high a success rate as if it's more complicated, right? The more complicated, the more time and more effort you have to put into something means that there's less people doing it that way. And when there's less people doing it that way, you tend to catch different audiences and it becomes easier to sell things. So I'm a huge proponent of knocking doors, because it's not as easy as putting a Facebook ad out, right? It's not as easy as signing up with a company that says, hey, we're going to give you leads. And to that point, if it's that easy to sign up with a company that's going to give you leads, you don't get paid as much as if you're knocking doors, because it's harder. So we're talking about efficiency here. For those people that learn the hardest way and can make it and make success out of that, then the easy stuff is even easier. Does that make sense?
100%. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, man. That's the people need to hear that. So that's perfect. So my last question is about you. You know, you've done so much in your short already history here. What's next for Jake Hess?
Oh, we have some industry changers coming out. They're almost completely done. Recognizing there's not really awards out there for solar companies or an accreditation for it. So we own the National Solar Association now, and we also own the Excellence in Solar Award, and we have stringent guidelines and policies for those. I'm here with Nate because we're going to make certifications for installers because there are no certifications out there. A certified installer, they apply, they try to express to the hiring party what their capabilities are, but there's no certification yet. And there's no certification for a sales rep getting a red line. And so we're creating all the certifications for that right now as well. And we got a lot in the pipeline. We have about 5 or 6 industry changing projects that we're working on.
You don't think small, do you? You're a big thinker, aren't you, Jake?
I don't know.
Yes, you are, man. You're really a big thinker. I love that. We need you in the industry, and I love everything you do. You know, and a lot of people want to reach out to you and ask questions and, you know, work with you. And what's your kind of response, and how can people reach out to you if you want?
We get quite a few people reaching out wanting training and help and services. Oddly, this is going to sound horrible, but it's the ones that text me the most, and on different platforms, Facebook, Instagram. The last guy that just that we decided to take on in Denver, he messaged me, he texted me, he called me, he left me a voicemail, he messaged me on Facebook and on Instagram and sent me an email. I was like, what do you want? Ended up being an awesome guy. But since then, since we have so many people come in, we've created new packages and things. Donnie Kinzer is helping us out with those. For those that know Donnie Kinzer, he's helping us out with those. They're flooding in. And I'm actually a little bit more interested in hearing about your training program that you have, because I know that you have helped a lot of people. And so everyone knows, I look up to Solar Joe quite a bit. The guy goes on to Clubhouses, Facebooks. All he does is build and give back to the community. I'm the Grinch. I go out there and I build and give back, but I want money for it, right? Joe's just out for being a good person. And so, Joe, tell us about your training program that you have.
Man, it is not about me, but since you're asking about it, it's Solar Done Right. Gigi Goffer is the mastermind behind it, and it's amazing because it's easy to get the tools to sell solar. You can go get EPC or, you know, a plan to sell, but you don't have the right training. You're kind of lost. You're just kind of like, okay, what do I do next? What do I do next? And you just kind of get lost, and then you kind of hate solar, you hate the industry, you don't make money, and it's like you have a bad taste in your mouth. So we're trying to change that. We want people to come in and say, all right, I know exactly what I have to do to be successful today. I know exactly what I have to do tomorrow. I have all the tools I need, all the trainings I need, all the mentors I need, that there's no excuses. And that's what we do. We give a no excuse training platform where if you bring in the hustle, the hard work, we can almost guarantee you success.
Beautiful, dude. I love that you're doing that.
And you, man, Solar Academy, man, I know you got to go. Just a quick tidbit about Solar Academy and who was actually able to even work with you.
Who in the industry?
Yeah, who's able to work with you? I know you work with larger companies, and, you know, I'm not sure how individuals can work with you or not, or.
We have some individuals that we're helping out. I've helped SunPower Corporation on their back end of things, refine some of their processes with installations. I've helped massive installation companies fix the way that they do installs, even electrical. I'm helping sales organizations. Some of my favorite people in the sales organizations, Earl Capule has come and helped me with my events that I've done. I'll be thankful for him for a long time. And I have there's a lot of businesses out there. I don't know if I can say all of their names right now, but I can tell people that have helped me out: Earl Capule, Ben Mack, Donnie Kinzer, you definitely. Shout out to my marketing guy, Neil, and Amy, who is my right hand on everything. But I don't necessarily want to throw all the companies out there.
No, you're great. I just wanted to give you the platform to do it. You're awesome, Jake. Thank you so much for squeezing us in and give us a little bit of your experience in role play. I don't know if you know. Do you know? I got next week. An amazing solar pro. You know Wally Arita?
No,
Man, the guy is a beast. He's closed deals left and right, referral only. I mean, he's amazing, and he's actually made time to do the role play next week. So super excited to have him on. But that's it for me, Jake. Any last thoughts?
Proud of you, Joe. Bring these people on and bring this back to the industry, and I will be on that next week because I want to learn from him.
Awesome. Let's go. Peace.
Thanks, Joe.